So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Karyn Ruiz, and I'm from Aztec Software. As the Senior National Academic Specialist, I'm here to share with you Aztec's digital pharmacy technician curriculum that's utilized by the University of Arkansas's Pharmacy Technician online program. Ashley is going to be speaking about her program and the amazing success that they have had. But I come to you today as a current adult student educator with over 19 years of classroom experience. My students actually started back yesterday, last night, after being on winter break. Our winter break for our evening students was 5 weeks. So my students came flooding into the doors and online. So grateful to have contact with me, official contact with me, because we were kind of on the sly, having, texting back and forth as they were working through their break. So, I come to you with a passion for finding the best ways to meet our students' needs, which is one of the reasons why I work for Aztec as well as teach. I'm joined here today with Ashley Hammond from University of Arkansas at Montecello, and she's going to share with you some of the background information as to why their pharmacy technician program is so important and successful. So, Ashley, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. Welcome. I've been in adult education for the last 8 years in a small area in Southeast Arkansas. And I'm just excited to share the successes that Aztec Healthcare Pathways has done in our program.
And we'll hear a whole lot more from Ashley as we get through these slides. So many of you may have heard of Aztec before. We've been in the ecosystem for about 40 years. But before anything else, I want you to know that we're an impact company. And what that means is that our focus is not pumping out products as fast as we can, but really to create quality products that meet the current needs of our adult students and their programs. And we do this by partnering and collaborating with industry-specific organizations to ensure that our programs best prepare students in meeting their educational and training goals. So today, our commitment to the development of learners has led us to diversify and fortify the resources and solutions that we have. And one of our foundational tenets is the acknowledgement that regardless of a learner's position or step in their learning journey, then they need to be properly supported with the most relevant, learner-centric, and proven solutions possible. In my classroom, that is wherever you are is where you are. And we're going to start there and help you meet your goals. So as you can see here in this little graphic on the Aztec family of companies, that we've been hard at work in fulfilling our commitment to learners and the programs that serve them by creating a vast portfolio of companies that are focused on upskilling learners in different areas. We're going to talk about products from a variety of these different programs, though we're basically going to focus on the CTE healthcare, which is this one over here. We'll be looking at the life skills education. We'll be looking a little bit at workforce. We'll be looking at some of the print products, a lot of the digital products. These here are personal finance products down below, which also could be part of your program as well. So for today's webinar, we're going to really look at those national trends and why a healthcare CTE program or IET program might be a really great fit for your learners. We're going to review briefly why it's important for your agencies to review their regional labor market index and data, and then we'll go over the requirements of federally or WIOA-funded IET programs and the curriculum that Aztec can provide to cover all three requirements of these WIOA IET programs. And throughout this presentation, Ashley's going to pop in and come in and pop out again and explain in detail how she and her site developed their own IET program and CTE program and review their achievement data. She's also going to share their future plans for expanding those programs as well. So if you do have any questions, by all means, I've got the chat up. I can see hand raised. So if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat pod and I will try to address them as best as possible. For those that I get a little stymied on, Mitch Rosen from Aztec is also here, and I believe he can also see the chat and will be able to answer some questions as well. And I may ask Ashley to answer questions specific to the programs also. idea. There we go. I was like, ooh, we got a mic reverb. There we go. So we're going to start by looking at the current national trends and how that really should affect which healthcare CTE programs that you should consider adopting for your own sites. Currently, there are a number of different entry-level jobs in healthcare administration that could be family sustaining wage-wise for your adult students. These include things like patient services representatives or medical records clerks, intake coordinators, and even billing and coding specialists. And added to that list, though still in that healthcare pathway, are things like pharmacy technicians. So this image and the next handful were taken a few months ago from ZipRecruiter. And as you can see, the national average yearly wage for pharmacy technician is a little over $40,000, with top earners bringing home as much as, $4,000 each month. That's something that could definitely sustain a family of four. And this information is really important for you to consider when you're looking at programs for your sites. Just to compare, and I'll explain a little bit later why we're looking at these other versions or other programs, but the yearly average wage for a certificated clinical medical assistant right around that end of 2024 was over $43,000 each year. A certified medical administrative assistant was earning just under $42,000 a year. And then you can see that this jumps drastically by about $20,000 for certificated medical coding and billing specialists. And again, these salaries, they all vary by state, but this information is for an entry-level medical coder. So when you and your site administrators are looking at potential new IET or CTE programs for your site, it's really important to see if those programs will lead to family sustaining jobs. So I know on my site, probably about a decade ago or a little bit more, we had next door to me was the medical assistant instructor where I was teaching high school diploma. And she was telling her students she had looked at the data for our region and noticed that there were not a lot of hirings and not a lot of jobs available for the medical assistants coming out of her program and completing their coursework. And so she kind of shifted her future plan talk with her students and said, hey, our medical assistant program is a great starting off point for your LVN program or for your RN program. And so to kind of get that mindset shifted for them, and even when she did interviews before starting her new term, having that conversation with them is like, this is a great starting off point. Unfortunately, right now in our kind of tri-county area, there aren't a lot of positions available in medical assisting. But if you still want to go into that position, if you're interested in this, this would be a great jumping off point for LVN, for CNA, for RN, et cetera. And so just having that background information really does help your students make informed decisions about their careers and their futures. The other thing to take into consideration is what's going on in your state and in your region. So Fresno, California is the largest city within about a 50-mile radius of where I live. And I can see from, again, this graphic from ZipRecruiter that the average yearly salary actually dips slightly as compared to the national number. But there are a couple other key points of information on this slide and from this information from ZipRecruiter that you can glean and then use to make your program more marketable to potential students. So one of the things is this little note here, and I'll read it. It says, if you're qualified, getting hired for one of these related pharmacy technician jobs may help you make more money than that of the average nurse position. So many of our students are looking for jobs that will support their cost of living. This note, along with this graphic down here, shows additional higher positions along a student's pharmacy technician career path. And this gives that student key data to make not only plans for their within a year immediate future, but also for their like 3 to 5 year or 5 to 10 year futures, during which they may decide to work towards becoming a compounding technician or the managing pharmacy tech at their current place of employment. And then maybe even looking at moving to becoming the assistant director or moving to a hospital and working as the pharmacy manager there further down the road. Students also wonder often how will moving affect their job availability and their monthly salary. So it's really important for your adult ed sites, for the program to directors to really become familiar with state and regional information as well in order to best market their new programs. So as an example, this is a list from ZipRecruiter of the top 5 highest paying annual salaries for pharmacy technicians in California, and each has a very specific regionally based reason for its wages. So I'm from California, as you can tell. Corcoran, Soledad, and Wasco all have state prisons. So their average salaries include those of the prison pharmacists. So they're going to be a little bit higher. Scotts Valley and Felton are small neighboring communities with a total of less than 30,000 people. And both towns, and I looked them up, they have like a Rite Aid, a CVS, a Walgreens, and that's it. But the deal with both of those is they're 30 minutes away from Silicon Valley. So they themselves are not highly populated areas, but you think about Silicon Valley and the folks that are living in those areas, that's perhaps why those salaries are so high. So another piece, and Ashley, I'm going to shout out to you. Thank you again for sharing this with me. This is from Links, and if y'all have never been on Links, go to links.ed.gov, and they have tons of different resources for you. But this PDF is the IET quality indicators from July of 2023. There are 27 indicators that are organized in 5 different categories to support the development and continuous improvement of IET programs. So you can see there's IET program design, collaboration and industry engagement, curriculum instruction, student experience and progress, and then the last being program management, staffing, and organizational support. And so here's just a sample of one of the indicators from the IET program category. And that IET program category states that it refers to the intentional design and development of a program that meets the needs of local labor markets, provides a pathway to quality jobs, and aligns with federal and state policies. And so one of those indicators is that a quality IET program should meet local labor market needs, as evidenced by labor market information, or LMI, research and employer validation, and creates a pathway to quality jobs. And so with that, we're going to talk about why LMI, or labor market information, matters. So looking at that labor market information is really important. It needs to be an integral component of developing your program. You can't just say, and I would love to say this, and my boss is on the line here with us, oh yes, we have a great farm tech program. Everybody should buy our farm tech program. Now, what we know based on that information is that there is a need for pharmacy technicians to be able to work not only in my region, in your region, in most people's regions, but also remotely. Because one of our clients is, I don't know if I can name drop or not, but I'll give you some information. You can come up with who that company might be. They have, folks who buy their pet supplies online. Some of the pet supplies that you buy online also include your dog's flea and tick medication or hypersensitivity like creams and things like that. And so that online pet company needs online or remote working pharmacy technicians. So we work with them. They're one of our clients. And so it really is important that you go in and make sure that you are familiar with what the need is in your area, and also what jobs are available remotely as well. Another thing to take into consideration is to make sure that your program is going to lead to jobs that are going to assist families in getting out or above the federal poverty level. They need to have a family sustainable wage. And so this is just some kind of information about what that means in different areas. So you can see based on family size with 1 or 2 working adults and this many children, 0 to 3, that family wage, that family sustainable wage is different for Monroe County in Tennessee as it is for Marin County in California. So keeping all of that in mind, looking for those family sustainable wages, that information is easy for you to access and to find online in in different places. And so it is really important for you to get that information, become familiar with it, and share it with the directors, the instructors, the program developers, administrators on your site as you're developing these programs. Just as an example here, as of February of 2024, if you were a crew member in Chicago working at McDonald's, you're making $12.87 a year. For your 2080 people, which is 40 hours a week, that means they're going to make a total of $26,770 with no days off. But the median income in Chicago in 2022 was $71,000. So you are way off of that sustainable wage. You're way off of that per capita average income as well. So we're really looking for wages and programs that will be family sustainable wages, that will really sustain our students and also provide them with opportunities to be able to expand or move forward or grow up into, a higher paying wage within that same occupation as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about IET programs and federal legislation. So for those of you who maybe do or don't know about WIOA and IET programs can receive WIOA funding, but they need to include 3 different components. They need to have adult education and literacy activities. They need to have workforce preparation activities, and they need to have workforce training. They also have to have 2 separate instructors, 2 separate classes in order for that to be considered a WIOA-funded IET program. That adult education and literacy needs to be academic focused. So they need to be working on their high school diplomas, their GEDs, HiSETs, or NEDP diplomas. The workforce prep and workforce training are 2 separate requirements. For workforce prep, this includes building skills like critical thinking, digital literacy, and self-management. For workforce training, those are those job-specific skills or things that need to have skill upgrading, skill retraining, job readiness skills for a very specific job in a specific field like that pharmacy technician skills. So things like medical terminology would all be considered part of this workforce training. And so we like to call that the 3-legged stool of the WIOA IET program. So you can kind of see it in a different way. I'm a visual learner, so I like to look at it this way as well. So you look at that adult education, literacy, GED, ESL, workforce training, that on-the-job hard skill training, and that workforce prep we used to call and sometimes still call those soft skills, critical thinking, digital literacy, self-management skills like that. So before I go into what Aztec can provide, what I wanted to do is have Ashley come in and talk about how she set up her program. So Ashley, you just tell me next and I'll go to the next slide for you.
Okay. So in the spring of 2023, we began our journey with Aztec's first healthcare pathway, Pharmacy Tech. I'll kind of begin with a little background of our program and how the IET Pharmacy Tech doubled our enrollment in 1 year and created a very successful distance learning training program. So I am currently working as the distance learning coordinator and recruitment specialist for our program. We serve students ages 16 and up. Of course, we have areas of ESL, GED, we have refresher classes, but then our focus lately, of course, has been the IET programs. We serve 8 counties and we manage now 11 education centers. We're a very rural area, so that's why we have to have so many centers in our area. In July, we also added 4 centers and 3 counties with the expansion of our RFP. Our mission is to commit to expanding educational opportunities and provide IET programs to better employ our community. So as our program was preparing for our first cohort, we attended COABE and became clear that we had chosen the right IET to meet our goals in the next year. Listening to this Aztec breakout session that they had at COABE in Atlanta. We knew we wanted a distance learning course from contact to completion. We wanted rigorous content. We wanted to support a national certification. We wanted to train leading clients to jobs above the poverty line, as Karyn has kind of explained. That was very, very important to me. And a healthcare pathway to be a stepping stone to further their career. And Aztec was our, Pharmacy Tech Aztec was our choice. Following the success of our first pilot cohort, we set ambitious goals to expand the program. As I'll talk in a little bit, we had 5 in our first cohort. Our focus was doubling our enrollment, reaching non-traditional clients. So these are the clients that you do not see just face-to-face. These are clients out in the community. We wanted to also offer stackable credentials. So we wanted those students ready for work as they completed our program. We also wanted to increase yearly completers and ensure participants secured employment within the 4th quarter after exit. So these were just some of our main things that we wanted to be successful in the program. So we set up our Pharmacy Tech program. We provided students with flexibility to complete the assessments remotely from home. We offered open scheduling options, even on the weekends and evenings. Last year, I probably worked average of 70 to 80 hours a week. It's kind of calmed down this year. We also wanted to accommodate diverse needs. I connected with libraries. I connected with other resources. If they had Wi-Fi issues, we had hotspots and we had laptops for availability. Our digital intake form was a game changer. We allow students to complete the application anytime and secure and upload their documents like a social security card and of course their ID. We also implemented digital interest forms and scheduling tools to streamline the process. So like I said before, this is from contact to completion, a complete distance learning program. This is just a little bit about Aztec. Of course, Karyn will kind of expand on it. These are the things that we wanted in our program. So it's a learn at your own pace. There's over 300 hours of curriculum. It's device ready, phone, laptop, iPad, Chromebook. These students can access their pharmacy tech. It has a ready to go scope and sequence, which is always nice. Engaging modules to build student retention. And as we, of course, finished the program, these students had multiple MSG gains. It also prepares students, of course, for the national exam. And these students are job ready when they finish the completion of the program. So, of course, IETs have 3 legs. So these are the other 2 legs of the IET. Our wage program included Aztec's financial literacy, essential computer skills, and ready for work modules, as well as we added a resume builder, mock interview, a typing session, keyboarding lessons, a paragraph writing, and access to the state's jobs database. Each student was paired with a career coach who supported them throughout their entire journey, and then also assist them with job placement at the end. The 3rd leg of the IET was our adult education component, the Wage 2. This featured topics as basic anatomy, customer service, which can go across any platform, medical math, and the completion of their IRC. And we focused on a HIPAA cert, and it was focused on pharmacy tech. The program for class time is an average around 100 hours, with students expected to progress 10 to 15% a week. Upon completing all the modules, and the student would complete a final exam, which was timed, and then it was required an 80% pass rate to succeed. The first cohort that I mentioned consisted of 5 students. they were already enrolled in our program. A few were working towards their GED, and then some were just preparing for the pharmacy tech program. Following the launch of our marketing campaign, we were thrilled with the overwhelming response of the second cohort. Our phones were ringing, emails, texts. Students were just really excited about the program. And then we offered the program free for all of our students. So over the past year, we've celebrated 60 completers and 125% increase in enrollment. An impressive 72% E&E among our distance learning pharmacy tech students. And then altogether, we completed 110 IET credentials, just marking a significant growth and success for the program.
So Ashley, we had a question in the chat. Can you give a few examples of the stackable certifications that your students earn?
Sure. So the HIPAA was one. We also offered a first aid CPR, the CRC, Career Readiness Certificate. And then we also had modules from the CDC website.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to take the wheel here for a little bit. Thank you. So a really great program. And she talked a little bit about some of the different curriculum that they use, giving a big shout out to our pharmacy tech program. Remember, we talked about that three-legged stool. So currently, these are the programs that we have available for you that would fulfill the needs, the curriculum needs for those three different legs, for the workforce training, for the adult ed academic or literacy piece, and then also for the workforce preparation. And so you can see the different programs that we kind of talked about before with the billing and coding, the clinical medical assistant, the medical administrative assistant, and the pharmacy technician. These are all of your academic pieces. We're going to talk about GED for IET in just a sec. And then all of these workforce preparations we're going to talk about also. But again, they're all three of those legs, covering all three of those legs. Because I know that one of the big things that we hear from folks about setting up their IET programs is, oh my gosh, we have to buy all of this curriculum and it's all over the place. And how are our instructors going to juggle it? How are our students going to juggle all of these programs? And what's really fabulous is that they would be all housed, or all, especially if they're digital, all housed on the digital Aztec platform, but also our print materials as well would be available. And, they have kind of a familiar template. So the students are used to navigating through those materials in the way they're structured. So like Ashley mentioned before, we have our pharmacy technician program. It was co-developed by community colleges and pharmacists, and it really represents the essential functions of a pharmacy technician. It assists students in passing the national exams for certification and gives them those workforce skills that they need to be successful on the job. That's the full course. We also have a companion course or a short course that's designed for students to use when they're getting ready to take their test, if they've already finished the full course. What I really appreciate about it is it has a lot of practice in it, but it really has practice that's focused with that mathematical calculations. So they know the terminology, they know what steps and skills are supposed to do, but then to be able to complete those mathematical computations as well in that contextualized setting. So that's really the focus of the short course. We also have a digital CCMA, or certified clinical medical assistant program. You can see the 8 units of study there. Those are to help students with be able to carry out skills like, basic healthcare tasks, such as monitoring vital signs and other things. And it prepares students for taking the National Healthcare Association certification exam. Our certified medical administrative assistant program also prepares students for the National Healthcare Association certification exam. And it helps students understand the skills for things like overseeing organizational tasks, or like scheduling or managing records or checking in patients. And what I appreciate in all three of these programs is they have an entire unit on patient encounters or how to deal with clients appropriately, customer service, which I think is critical now for our service industries. Our last is our Certified Billing and Coding Specialist program. Again, this one is fully aligned to that National Healthcare Association or NHA exam, and it will assist students in being able to code medical diagnoses, procedures, and then submit claims to insurance organizations and companies. All of our programs allow students to be able to work at their own pace. You heard Ashley, she talked about how her students are all working remotely and on their own. There is web-based testing there that's aligned to those national exams. That learning management system, for anybody who's used our academic programs, it is the same system. And so for your instructors who are familiar with that format, they'll be able to get attendance information out of there, score reports, monitor students' progress. There are also lesson plans included with all of these programs, and students and instructors will be able to use these programs with any device, your cell phone, a tablet, a laptop, a desktop. And I know for me on the academic side, this has been a game changer for me because my students can text me and ask for assistance, and I can answer them while I'm pumping gas at Costco or while I'm standing in line at the grocery store. I can answer a quick question or send them more work. On the adult ed or literacy side, we would have our software and also our print materials through StackVon. That's that second leg there. And what's really important about that adult literacy is even for your students who already have their high school diplomas or GEDs or high sets or past the NEDP program, they may need some additional academic support in order to get their academic reading skills up to an appropriate level. So this is for the pharmacy tech exam, the PCTE. These are just some sample questions. And for me, coming from K-12, I always go down to Flesch Kincaid grade level. These questions are at an 11th grade and a half, so like middle of 11th grade level. So your student may have their high school diploma, have completed their GED or high set tests, have earned their NEDP, but their reading level might not be at that like 11 and a half grade level. And so they might need to go back and review that academic reading and boost those scores up. And so we have, of course, academic programs to be able to support those students. We have them available in English and in Spanish. We have them for GED prep. We have them for high set prep. If you're a CASAS or TABE school, we have specific programs for A Tutor for CASAS and TABE. Those are now being aligned or already aligned to the updated versions of those tests, both CASAS Goals 2 and TABE 13-14. And so we have a variety of different programs to be able to assist your students at those academic needs across all grade levels, both print and digital. A couple of the new programs that we do have ESL transitions. So this is for your ESL students who would perhaps like to transition into ABE or need those academic skills. So these have very specific content that would assist those second or third language learners, students who are working on their English skills to be able to improve them academically speaking. We also have our StackVon GED for IET digital program. So if you have students who are concurrently enrolled in a GED program and are also working in a CTE program in your IET program as a whole, we have a specific GED for IET program so that the content that they're learning are the academic skills that they will need for their GED passing. However, their contextualized content also for their IETs. And so they would have contextualized content. There are additional features like journeys about students who are working on their GEDs or have completed their GEDs and are now working in the healthcare community in some sort of way, either as a farm tech or as a building and coding specialist, etc. These programs also have high impact lessons that are aligned to the GED high impact indicators, but they're also within the context of, again, those pharmacy tech or medical healthcare tech programs. There are also 16 vocabulary lists, healthcare specific vocabulary. Again, my experience with healthcare is being next door to my medical assistant instructor friend and those students, but I don't know that medical field very well. So if I were to be the academic side in that cohort to my medical assistant instructor, and if we had formed an IET, I would need some additional assistance with that healthcare specific vocabulary. So we have 16 different lists that are shared with the instructors that the instructors can then share with the students or utilize with the students in some way. Again, we talked a little bit about some of the different questions. Here's some at-work questions. The final question set for each one of the units is contextualized. So you can see even here, this as the student is preparing for their social studies GED test and working on that social studies curriculum, there is a final set of questions that are contextualized, civic and government at work, that's focused on that healthcare field. All of our academic programs are broken down with units. It starts with a pre-test. There are lessons for instruction, drills that are your skill practice, and then a post-test for each one of those units. And then finally, we have our workforce prep programs, and those are going to come from our Aztec workforce family of companies and also our life skills education company or programs as well. So that third wheel is that workforce preparation. One of our programs is called Bring Your A Game Anywhere, which is the digital version, and then Bring Your A Game, which is print. It comes from the Center for Work Ethic Development. And they worked with industry leaders to determine the 7 skills that drive work ethic. These 7 fundamental skills that are presented in this curriculum really help students become better workers, better employees. There are 10 different modules for the students to go through. I really appreciate that one of those modules is the final module, where they have a capstone. They have to make their own personal action plan as to how they are going to improve their attitude, their attendance, appearance, ambition, acceptance of others, appreciation of others, and their accountability as an employee. And upon completion of these modules, students can then go outside of the Aztec platform, take an exam from the Center for Work Ethic Development, and earn this certificate of proficiency that could be part of your certification program for your IET. Additionally, we have other programs like our digital literacy program. This is available in both English and Spanish. We have our Ready for Work series that is designed to foster workforce readiness for students. We have life skills programs that can be used, in small groups or individually. Those modules can be assigned to different students based on what their needs are, from a library of over 225 titles. But all in all, we have curriculum that is going to cover all of your needs for all 3 of the legs of that WIOA-funded IET program. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Ashley, and we're going to talk about IET successes and future plans.
So we renewed our pharmacy license with Aztec, and then we also added CCMA last spring in April. And our last 2 cohorts have gone extremely well. And we just want to continue this success, and the process has really been the key. Like I kind of mentioned, the successes include our digital intake, the remote assessments, and our marketing campaigns. Our contact and interest forms could be easily shared by social media and flyers and other advertising channels. And additionally, our instructors play a critical part by actively monitoring students each week through phone calls, messaging, a group app, and ensuring consistent support and engagement. We wanted to make sure that the students could complete their program distance learning, but we also wanted the students to have a clear contact if any assistance was needed. And our goal for enrollment for the end of the year, and this is total enrollment, this is just not IETs, is to hit 1,000. So last year we were at around 700, and we're sitting around 650, 675 right now. And then hopefully we will hit 1,000. Why I talk about our overall enrollment is Aztec programs has made these enrollments grow. So marketing has been kind of my background. And so I kind of just laid it over into adult ed. So they have played a pivotal role in our advertising programs. We utilize Canva to create visual appealing content. Canva has a education version, which is free. We maintained a strong social media presence with clear and consistent ads. Each campaign included a contact form and relevant hashtags to boost reach. I did a lot of research on it, and it worked, and especially the time of day to post. And that's relevant in every area. What made these campaigns even more effective was they were all organic. We did not pay anything for our advertising. Former students were excited to repost and share their success stories, and that amplified the message. These are a couple of our ads. The one is a Farm Tech completer. The ad is just simple and shows around just 25% of text, which is very prime for social media. The next ad is just a simple ad for our CCMA. Of course, you see a lot of photo. Faces are something else that's very good for social media. And then, of course, above the ad, we posted our contact form. So we could really get that true analytics to see if they were working. These are 4 of our 60 Farm Tech completers. Adam completed the Farm Tech in the fall and is currently studying for his national exam. He's also now in our CCMA program. Carly completed the program in the summer. She was actually also enrolled in college to get her biology degree, and she will start pharmacy school next fall. Ajane completed last spring, and she is now in graduate school. And Haley completed the program last spring and is now in our CCMA course. And she's also studying for the national exam for her pharmacy tech. Demetria completed the pharmacy tech and medical assistant. She is currently employed as a parapro, which we also assisted with her completion, but plans to apply for pharmacy tech positions this summer. We also added this ad on our social media. Very simple, just a photo, just showing what she completed. And we gained over 15 contact forms in 24 hours. So very simple. Of course, she allowed us to use the pic. It was bright, and it just allowed for students to get interested in the program. So Aztec, of course, offers other healthcare pathways. We have now purchased, of course, CCMA. Hopefully, maybe we'll purchase the CMAA as well. These programs are foundations for building an IET. As she explained, there's all the components there for you. And they're going to equip clients with valuable skills to have better employment opportunities. So in the coming year, we plan to enhance our program by supporting the academic side, math, language, and reading. We also want to provide home kits for some hands-on practice. So students still do not have to come in the classroom, but they can still get that hands-on experience. We also are going to offer shadowing opportunities for qualifying students with our local hospitals and clinics. I actually met a connection from one of our local hospitals at the conference that I was in October. And so we're now connecting and collaborating with some programs for this summer. And then we also want to cover both the state license and the national exam license. Right now, we just cover one. So that's a plan that we want to expand on.
Okay, so we have come to the end of our presentation. I know we had a question in the chat. I think now I'm losing it. Where did it go? My thing scrolled. I apologize. So, in regards to costs and fees and pricing and whatnot, I would encourage folks to reach out to Aztec. If you have a sales rep, I would refer you to them to reach out to them. If not, I would, you can reach out to us at support@aztecsoftware.com. The cost things. So as a teacher, I'm not allowed to be on the sales team because as a teacher, I just give everything away. So that is a question I could not answer, but I know that our sales reps would definitely be able to answer that question for you. Are there other questions from the group that perhaps we could answer?
I had another question. This is Nancy, and it's in regards to Ashley's background. I guess what I'm trying to point out is that you don't need to be a pharmacist to be able to teach this course. And can you kind of touch on that a little bit?
Yes, ma'am. I have a business education degree. I do have marketing background because I've been in the jewelry business for over 20 years with my parents' small business, but I do not have any healthcare background.
So with that being said, it's complete enough that you feel comfortable the students, and like if you don't know the answer, you're able to find it for them?
Yes, ma'am. So the terminology, of course, we can support the academic, the math. We use some of Aztec programs to support them in those areas. But you do not have to hire a full healthcare science instructor to teach this program. It's going to do it for you.
Okay, I see. Jodia had something to say. Karyn, you see that? You responded to her.
Sorry about that. Yeah, she had mentioned how she really likes that the students have so many options upon completion of that farm tech program. And I would agree. And, that is one of the reasons why we choose the programs that we do that we're writing for, the billing and coding, farm tech, administrative assistant, to really find programs that are entry level positions that will lead to other positions that they can grow with. Mitch put in the chat, and this is very true, each state has very different requirements. So it is very important that you look into what the requirements are for your state for these different healthcare programs. Some states do require that you have a licensed or what have you certificated or credentialed instructor with the CTE portion of the IETs, and some of them don't. So it is important that you look at your state and determine what those requirements are, because we do want to make sure that, our students are checking all the boxes and making sure that we have a program that will be approved by your state. But yes, I do appreciate that these are programs that, your students can kind of start with, and then, looking at those yearly wages to see that this is an entry-level program that's going to earn, 2 or 3 times as much as what you would have in like the service field, working in fast food, things like that. So other questions or comments? So a question about the PowerPoint, I believe, and listen, Nancy, you can back me up, this will be on the NCHSE website.
That's correct. So everyone who attended today you will receive a certificate of participation for 1 hour of professional development. You don't have to request that. We'll send it to you automatically. We'll also send the recording, and we will send a copy of the PowerPoint slides. And if there's a flyer that Aztec would like for us to send, we'll share that with you as well. In addition, the recording and the PowerPoint deck will be archived on our website at healthscienceconsortium.org/webinars. And if you'll just give us a week or two, we've got a big annual meeting coming up, but we'll have this all out to you within a couple of weeks.
So this has been awesome. Thank you. I really got a lot out of the labor market data. And I think that, in high schools in particular, maybe we don't really look at that so much. We just are looking to get students to go through our programs. And so it's definitely something that we need to look at a lot more to drive the courses that we are teaching, rather than just like, oh, well, we've done it that way for the past 20 plus years. So let's just keep teaching the same thing, even though it doesn't really help the students at all. So I really appreciate that and some of those resources that you gave us, Karyn. So thank you.